And welcome back to the introduction to cross-country skiing, and this is part 2. We're going to discuss skate skiing. So most people may or may not know what skate skiing is. If you've ever done any downhill skiing and you're going between chairlifts, that little action of going with your skis is what we call skate skiing. So it's just like hockey skating or skating on ice, just that the motion is a little bit slower, right? So same thing you would do on, and we cut away a little vignette on the skate skiing, so you can see that. So the first thing I'm going to explain is the difference between the two types of skis. So here I've got a classic ski on my left hand here and a skate ski on my, which is my left hand right now, I've forgotten. But anyway, so a classic ski is going to be taller. This is about the right height for me for a classic ski, and the skate ski would be a touch taller than that, right? So just above the top of the head for a skate ski. You can see a difference right away in the two skis, and that the tip on a skate ski is hardly pronounced at all, because we are skiing on a flat ruined trail and we just don't need a tip for much. Whereas the classic ski, the tip is quite pronounced, so it has some help to stay in the tracks, right? A skate ski has one camber only. We wax the entire ski with glide wax. This has got a little film on it, so it looks kind of funny, but when we were waxing the ski, we waxed tip to tail the whole ski with glide wax, whereas on the classic ski, of course, we're only waxing the tip and tail with glide, and in the middle we're putting on a sticky kick wax, right? A classic ski also has a much softer feel to it, because when you're skiing along a track, you want the ski to go over the bumps and undulations of the track. In a skate ski, that never happens. It's always pushing the ski against a groomed, hard surface. So we don't need the ski to be soft on the tip and tail. We need it to be stiff, right? So a shorter ski, a much stiffer ski, one single camber because there's never any kick wax on it. A longer ski, softer tip and tail, and two cambers, one for kick and one for glide. So those are the two differences. Again, on when you're choosing a ski, whether it's skate or classic, as I mentioned in part 1, we are focusing in on both weight and height. At the entry level of a skate ski, as you would get in my Solomon ski here, the Kip 8. This ski here is an entry-level skate ski. It comes in 4 different lengths, and each length only has one weight camber to it. It's a fairly wide camber, weight camber, but it is only one per ski, so the ski is not ever going to fit fantastic if you happen to be tall and skinny. For example, on the extremes, if you're tall and skinny or short and heavier, it's going to be a tough fit to get a ski like this because it's limited, right? So on a higher end ski, I can buy them in 2 cambers per length. So I can buy it in a medium or a stiff camber in 180 or 190 depending on the length. So it helps me fit somebody who's tall and skinny or shorter and heavier, and anything sort of in between. I can get the perfect ski for that person. So in any of these lines, we start off with the entry-level ski like this, where there's no choice. We go to a nice performance ski in the middle of the range. That's where I can start buying them at a medium and stiff camber, and is what I suggest to most people to get is something in that range if you're a recreational skier that wants some performance. Okay, then we'll just look at some boots as well. So here I've got 2 examples of a Fischer skate boot. One is a recreational skate boot that I would have in my one hand here. I think this is my left hand. And then here I have a performance skate boot. So we'll look at the recreational one first. So on a skate boot, you want a nice stiff sole and a little bit of ankle support to give you some help. But you can see on this recreational skate boot, if I go to bend it, it does actually have a fair bit of flex. And a skate boot should be a bit more like a hockey skate, so a very solid footbed, so that when you're pushing on that ski time and time again, you're not creating fatigue in your foot, right? So if you want to ski for a long time, you need to have a boot that's really stiff and solid so that your foot is going to be comfortable. So we take a look at the higher end boot that we have here, and not only is it lighter, It's got more support and the sole is a lot stiffer, right? So that's what you want in a performance skate boot. And the boot is the key in any skiing outfit. You know, you need to have a comfortable, well-fitting boot to be happy on the trails for hours, right? And then the same thing on the poles, as we did talk about on the Classic in part 1, that you can get an inexpensive pole for classic skiing, or a really nice high-end pole for classic skiing. In skate skiing, we don't even bother with this guy because you need to have good propulsion when you're skate skiing, and this just doesn't provide any of it. Okay, and there are lots of poles in between here as well. So we don't start off with a really soft pole for skate skiing, but you don't need a high-end pole either. On a skate pole, your poles are behind your skis when you're skiing, which makes them a little bit longer than a classic pole. But regardless, you do need a stiff pole to handle your weight. So what we do here is we make sure that we give the person the appropriate pole. So if you're short and not very strong and not very heavy, you can get away with a lesser pole. If you're tall and really strong, then you need a good pole, right? You don't need a $400 pole, but most people are going to end up with a $200 to $300 pole if they're tall and strong. And the minimum is for a skate pole is around that $100 level. If you're a beginner or a junior skier, we can get you into a lesser pole. But it is very important to have a good pole because you are pushing on so much in skate skiing, different than classic. So that's the conclusion of part 2 on the introduction to skate skiing, and enjoy the rest of our skiing videos as well.